One of the other things that I always found very compelling in Csikszentmihalyi's work in general, and also in his creativity research, is the emphasis on meaning. He says that creativity is a central source of meaning in our lives. Most of the things that are interesting, important, and human are the results of creativity. So I'm curious for your take on his emphasis of meaning through flow, through creativity, and through some of the other pieces that fall under that as well.
Csikszentmihalyi and myself started with a very similar core question early on, which was, we saw a lot of adults when we were both kids who were really miserable in their lives for whatever reasons, but really miserable. And it didn't make sense because they had all the stuff that was supposed to make you happy. And they were all automatons in a sense, and nobody was happy. And that question of what makes life meaningful, in a sense, that what is the meaning of meaning, was a question he was asking. I was asking it in West of Jesus. And it led me to flow, though it didn't really lead me deep into his work on flow, because I was much more interested, especially in the beginning, in the neurobiology more than the psychology. But I will say that I think one of the things that's sort of uncomfortable about the flow research is that what we call meaning is experiences that take place when these certain neurochemicals are present. Now, that's not the only thing we call meaning, but it shows up a lot. When you go into terrorist training camps and you look at how are they indoctrinating people, or you go into cults, how are they indoctrinating people? They're altering consciousness and putting people into micro or macro flow states of varying kinds, or sometimes trance states, and then altering their beliefs. And when you feel that good, especially if you haven't felt that very often, and it's why I always say, the minute somebody else starts making meaning for you, run, just run, right? Especially if it's about flow or these kinds of altered state experiences. That is one of the things that I think it's weird, right? Like, flow is ethically neutral. War can be deeply meaningful. The cat burglar can go out and rob your house, and it's a deeply meaningful experience for them. Now, that gets built upon, right? And this is it's funny that it gets built upon the most in his book, Good Business, right? It's interesting that, like, Good Business turns out to be a book about meaning, but like, what does it mean to do good business? In a sense, it means that the work I'm doing serves the world, serves other people, is useful, isn't just about making a dollar. And that also plays a role. But in Art Impossible, it's, again, we're talking about getting the neurochemicals of social reward. It's not good or bad, but it's about, what we call meaning is the presence of certain neurochemistry during certain experiences. And those experiences are ethically neutral, right? And can be viewed from different perspectives, you know what I mean? Radically different ways. Could be deeply meaningful for somebody and could be, the worst thing in the world for somebody on the opposite side of that particular fence. And that's also tricky, right? That's part of, I think, what we mean by complexity. But he definitely, how to make a life more meaningful, how to increase overall life satisfaction, and those sorts of things. I think he, as much as anybody, has shaped our practical answers to those questions.
If what you've heard on Flow Research Collective Radio has been helpful, please consider doing us a solid and leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this. Reviews help us connect to a wider audience so we can get these peak performance principles out to more people.